Big breaking news. World War III has officially started. We are sending hundreds of troops to Taiwan in an aggressive posture towards China. And we are also threatening China with, quote, consequences. All right. We are going to fight a two-pronged war, a two-battlefield war. And it does not look good for the United States because our resources have already been depleted and China controls the world's supply chains. All right, so this is not looking good. We had a top U.S. general warning that war with China is coming by 2025. So they are getting us ready for something big, and they keep targeting China, all right, because China's the number one geopolitical and economic threat to the United States. We had these Chinese spy balloons the past few weeks, a major, I don't know what it was, some kind of, they were giving us this spy balloon narrative for a reason, either for a EMP attack or to ramp up aggression against China and drag us further into World War III. They made it a very big deal. And China was even saying that they had balloons flying over their airspace as well. All right. So, and now just a week later, a couple weeks later, we are now sending hundreds of troops to Taiwan. And we are now going to have Taiwanese troops training inside the United States on U.S. soil as well. This is just a major escalation. This is looking like what we already have 2.0, but even worse because we're going to be funding two massive proxy wars now. And you can see here a year ago there were only 30 American troops in Taiwan. Now we are sending 200. That's a big difference, and that goes to show the scale of the escalation that we are seeing against China and Russia. All right, we are already in a proxy war with Russia, and China is now saying they're going to arm Russia as well and help them in this proxy war. We will get to more of that in just a second. But you can see here, even Taiwanese troops are going to be trained by the Michigan National Guard on U.S. soil in Michigan. All right. This is a major escalation. We've already done this with soldiers from over there. I don't even want to say from where, but same thing's happening. We have U.S. soldiers inside of the battlefield against Russia as well over there too. All right, commandos, this is admitted. Even CIA agents are inside of the battlefield over there against Russia. And this was admitted in a New York Times article a couple months ago. I made a whole video on it, how we have NATO commandos and we have U.S. troops and we have CIA special ops agents and CIA cells inside of the battlefield over there, directing everything and coordinating everything. We are already in a war. We're already in World War III. It's just everyone's thinking like, oh, World War III is going to be when the nukes start dropping. No, World War III is once all of these countries are in massive conflict, and then there's lines being drawn in the sand of who's on whose side. And this is happening. It's shaping up to be Russia, China, Iran, North Korea versus NATO, essentially. And we're already seeing even Israel is hitting Iran right now, and we've been seeing a lot of attacks on Iran. There are conflicts all over the world, and we're definitely already in World War III. And we know that the globalists love it, and Klaus Schwab even keeps warning of this black swan event. Is this going to be a war breaking out between the United States? And the U.S. is even threatening China now with consequences if they want to arm Russia. So the United States can arm whoever they want, give $100 billion to whoever they want. But if China wants to help one of their allies, we are saying there's going to be consequences. You can see here Pentagon's vague threat to China over arming Russia. And it says, the Pentagon on Wednesday pledged, quote, consequences for Beijing if it heeds Moscow's desperate pleas for arms and ammunition, but yet again stopped short of detailing how it would follow through on the stern but vague threat. And this was from spokeswoman Sabrina Sine. All right, so just another thing, consequences for China if they help their allies, but we can help countries that aren't even in any treaties with us. They're not in NATO. They're not in the EU. No protection treaty, but we can help them and give them $100 billion. And I don't agree with any war. I don't want to see any war. I don't want to see any escalation. I don't want to see any invasions at all. But we have to be pragmatic here and realize, what if China put hundreds of troops inside of Cuba? What if China put hundreds of troops inside of Mexico or inside of Canada? The U.S. would be losing it. There would be international conflicts right away. All right, it would be a massive ordeal. All right, it would potentially spark World War III. All right, even though we are already in it. But just imagine, China puts hundreds of troops in Cuba or hundreds of troops in Mexico. It would be a you-know-what show. All right, it would be hitting the fan if that happened. But the U.S. can put troops in Taiwan, which China considers part of their country. All right, that's a whole other topic. Taiwan considers themselves independent and their own country, and they have for decades now. And then on top of that, what if China was arming Cuba to the teeth as well, giving them lots of technology, military technology, selling them tons of weapons? The United States would have a huge problem with that. And that's probably honestly something Cuba would like. Cuba would probably enjoy that, welcome that, and it's right there, right? This is essentially a very similar scenario that we have. And China has already been dry running on Taiwan, all right? If you saw this video a couple days ago from me, they cut two of the main cables going to China from Taiwan, causing massive internet outages, and they had to fire up emergency frequency transmitters to get internet on Taiwan, right, in lots of the areas, because they cut two of the main cables, right? And these were Chinese vessels that did it, and they were, you can even see here in this article, I was saying this, and then this article came out a couple days later saying that it could be a potential dry run for a internet blackout for Taiwan and just anyone, all right? We could see anyone cut these cables, and it could be blamed on anyone. Look at this Nord Stream pipeline. It's being blamed. There's 10 different fingers being pointed at everyone, but it looks like the most likely person is potentially the U.S. or NATO did it. But it's one of these things. What if these cables get cut? All right. What if our own cables get cut by NATO? Okay, because they want to control the internet. What if they want to cut off the internet and create a new internet? All right, and what if China or Russia or a different adversary cuts off our internet as well? This could happen, and they are unprotected and they're unsurveilled in the middle of the ocean, and anyone could cut them at any time, and it would take weeks to get the internet restored, and that's what Taiwan is dealing with right now. All right. And we keep seeing massive cyber attacks on America's infrastructure as well, and China has high cyber capabilities. And this was potentially a revenge hit on the United States because Biden did implement very harsh chip restrictions on China just a few months ago, essentially locking China out of the international supply chain for chips and forcing them to only make chips domestically for themselves, all right? And they can't even use anyone's engineers. They can't hire anyone else, or they're going to get cut off, right? That's what the United States said. If anyone in the United States or these certain countries work with China to produce chips, we will literally renounce their citizenship, and you will not be allowed back into the U.S. There was thousands of people that had to leave China that work in this field, and just a few months later, we now see a massive cyber attack on the largest chip and semiconductor manufacturer in the world. All right, I reported on this on Twitter a few days ago, and this company is losing $250 million just in a single quarter, just in 3 months. They're losing $250 million from production from this cyber attack, all right? And it could be coming from anywhere, but it could be coming from China for revenge, just like all these explosions and all these fires we're seeing it's speculative that it could be revenge. There could be cells being activated, or there could be cyber attacks on our infrastructure and disrupting these factories and causing explosions. All right, this definitely could be happening to get revenge on all these other things that have happened. All right, and we are seeing more explosions in the United States and fires than we see overseas right now. All right, so something is going on. We are already in a massive world war, and the lines are already drawn in the sand. We already know who's on whose side. It's looking like this is going to escalate. We are sending hundreds of troops to Taiwan now. All right, we will see how China responds. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think there will be a response from this action? Thank you guys so much. Please hit that like, please hit that sub, please hit that bell for me, and I hope you guys have a big old blessed day.